birthday. So every possible way that we can incorporate the 50th into our existing events or add new events through the course of the summer especially. It'll go all the way through the calendar year 2025. So we've got merch, and we're going to be celebrating in style. Mostly also kicking off, sort of launching ourselves into the next 50 years is a big theme of this year. So, and just very excited about this recognition.
Well, thank you and welcome.
We are always in the top 10% of visitation of all national park units across the country. We go somewhere between 9th to 13th, just in that range, usually every year. And our visitation is changing with more and more people coming from out of state, which is good for all of us. And they'll stay longer, spend more money in the communities. It's a good thing. Hello, Councilwoman.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It is my great honor to present this commendation to you on behalf of the park. And if you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and read it out.
Absolutely.
Whereas the Cuyahoga Valley National Park was created by Public Law 93-555 and passed by the United States Congress on December 27, 1974. That law officially created the Cuyahoga Valley National Recreation Area that would later be renamed the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And whereas the park consists of 33,000 acres stretching roughly from Akron to Cleveland, along 22 miles of the Cuyahoga River, and includes a myriad of trails and sites for visitors to explore, such as Brandywine Falls, the Ohio and Erie Canal Towpath Trail, Hale Farm and Village, and the Boston Mills Visitor Center. The park is also home to the Blossom Music Center, 2 ski resorts, and the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. Last year, Cuyahoga Valley ranked 12th for total visitors among the 63 national parks with 2.8 million visitors. And whereas Summit County resident and U.S. Representative John Seiberling, D. Akron, worked closely with U.S. Representative Ralph Regula, R. Navarre, to establish the park 50 years ago. Congressman Seiberling and Regula's tireless efforts resulted in the funneling of hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds to Cuyahoga Valley during their service in Congress. And whereas, as an urban park between 2 industrial cities, Akron and Cleveland, born out of the Parks to the People civil rights and environmental movements of the 1960s and early 1970s, for the first 40 years or so of the park's history, the focus was on building access for visitors from those metropolitan centers to get a rural or suburban experience or just to explore nature. In recent years, new stream and forest restoration projects to improve the Cuyahoga River ecosystem have been initiated, including the removal of invasive species, planting trees to reforest former pasture, and creating a small wetland. And whereas, while more than 4 million residents populate the metropolitan area, the Cuyahoga Valley remains a green-shrouded miracle of relatively undeveloped and scenic open space. The National Park Service continues to manage the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, dedicated to preserving its scenic, natural, and historic setting while providing for the recreational and educational needs of the visiting public. Now, therefore, be it known by all and declared by the Council of the County of Summit, State of Ohio, that this council commends the Cuyahoga Valley National Park on its 50th anniversary and its positive impact on the lives of so many. We urge all citizens to join in celebrating this milestone on this 10th day of February in the year 2025.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All treasure the national park very much and what you do for the people of our county.
Thank you so much. Do you mind if I make a couple of remarks of thank you?
Absolutely.
Not going to take much of your time. This is such an honor to receive this from you all, and it's really, I'm so pleased that you mentioned the Congressman John Seiberling, Ralph Regula. This truly is, we're becoming what they dreamed and what the people of this county dreamed we would be. And we would not be here without the support of our communities, and especially in Summit County. So we're just excited that 50 years later, we were a little misunderstood, a little bit underappreciated, and 50 years later, we truly are bringing what we can to contribute to the quality of life for residents of Summit County. We're joining with the stellar metro parks and other open spaces, and just so excited. We would never have gotten here without the help of the people. So thank you so much for the honor.
Kent,
Thanks,
excuse
everybody.
me, is there somebody with you that you would like your picture taken with? Yeah, come on.
Come on up, Ivan. Ivan Kasovic is my assistant for external affairs, so he
Oh,
helps.
Yes.
So let's have the councilwoman handle this.
Teach me to forget my flat hat uniform.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. There is one motion. There are 9 first readings. There are 2 first reading passage requests. 2025-039, Phil Montgomery to address council.
Thank you, Madam President. Phil Montgomery from the Executive Department of Finance and Budget. I mentioned this to council last cycle that we would be bringing in another appropriation, this time for the life-to-date funds. So these are all of those, again, funds that are not in the annual operating budget approved by council. So we call it the rollover legislation. So last week, council passed reviewed the annual appropriations that'll go through, and then this is the life-to-date. So we're going to, as we continue to move funds from life-to-date to annual, this will go away, and we'll be back down to only one, hopefully next year. But this is the other piece of that, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Next, thank you, Phil. Next is 2025-040. Again, Phil Montgomery to address council.
So we have before council this cycle's appropriation legislation for ongoing appropriation in 2025. On the first page, we have a grant for the economic development as well as a grant for EMA. On page 2, we have the public safety 911 funds. There's 2 of them. So these are, again, annual appropriations for this year that weren't in the annual operating budget. The last item on page 2 is an appropriation adjustment in the TCAP grant fund, as well as the first item on the second. These were previously approved by council. The next one is a public safety grant for fiscal year 24 on JAG. We also have a public safety grant for fiscal year on 25 on the SORT, Special Operations Response Team. Going through a second SORT grant appropriation, we have operations on the public safety department for the combined dispatch facility out in Talmadge. We have the appropriation of the pipeline emergency response grant for EMA. And then the last 2 items are a grant for the domestic relations court and an appropriation request for developmental disabilities. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? If no questions, Mr. Will, are you okay with these 2? There is one late filing for first reading passage request, 2025-048. Joe Eckenrod will address council.
Good afternoon, Joe Eckenrode, Executive's Office, Department of Physical Plants. This legislation is for 2525 State Road to do the asbestos removal. This is being funded through a grant through the Ohio Department of Development's demolition program. In conjunction with the land bank, the county is going to have a 25% match. The abatement estimate is at $650,000, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? No? Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
We have routine legislation found on page, Liz, are you okay with that one? Yeah. We have routine legislation found on pages 4 through 8. There is 1 second reading. There are no third readings. Please rise for the pledge led by Councilwoman Elizabeth Walters and followed by a moment of silence. Roll call?
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Hyam, Mr. Donofrio, Mr. Cajun,
Here.
Ms. Dickinson,
Here.
Mr. Ford,
Here.
Mr. Wilhite,
Here.
Ms. Darrow,
Here.
Mr. Lacotte,
Here.
Ms. McKinney, Ms. Walters.
Here.
May I have a motion to approve January 27, 2025 minutes? I have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
M13, 2025, a motion of council confirming the reappointments of Judge Allison McCarty and Police Chief Jeff Film to the Criminal Justice Advisory Board.
So moved.
I have a motion on M0. Is this one? I think this is not the one. I have a motion on, I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
I have a motion on M0132025. All in favor?
Aye.
Any,
You got it.
is there any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, that's a,
I did, or Bethany did it. Yeah.
uh-huh, okay. No, that's okay. My papers seem like they're,
That's okay, you're fine. First readings, 2025-39, a resolution appropriating carryover balances for various life-to-date operating and capital funds for 2025 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget Emergency.
Madam Chair, I ask to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-339.
I have a motion to suspend and adopt 2025-039 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, and on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-40, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2025 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget Emergency.
Madam Chair, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-040.
I have a motion to suspend and adopt 2025-040 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-41, an ordinance amending Section 169.29 of the Codified Ordinances of the County of Summit entitled Fee and Tuition Reimbursement for Any Employment-Related Undergraduate Courses Program to make certain updates and revisions to adjust reimbursement amount for inflation and make reimbursement more competitive for the Executive's Department of Human Resources Emergency. 2025-42, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a construction contract with the Geauga Highway Company for the Cleveland-Massillon Sidewalk Project located in the Bath Township in Council District 5 in an amount not to exceed $445,246.24 for the engineer emergency. 2025-43, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with DLZ Ohio Incorporated as a best practical source for the final design of the Springfield Lake outlet structure and channel study located in Council District 8 in an amount not to exceed $257,946.77 for the engineer emergency. 2025-44, a resolution approving the time, place, and expense of the engineers' annual meeting of county and township authorities on May 6, 2025 at Michelangelo's Winery located in Richfield Township in Council District 1 in an amount not to exceed $6,000 for the engineer emergency. 2025-45, a resolution declaring the month of March 2025 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Summit County, recognizing people with developmental disabilities for their contributions to our community and their perseverance in breaking down barriers for the executive emergency. 2025-46, a resolution declaring the month of March 2025 as Women's History Month in Summit County, recognizing the women of America, the achievements they have made, and the struggles they have faced and continue to face today for the executive emergency. 2025-47, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute grant agreements with various Summit County nonprofit organizations and state-mandated entities in a total amount not to exceed $843,900 for the year 2025 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget Emergency.
Madam President, I move to amend the agenda to include the late filing, and I'd like to go on as a co-sponsor of this, please.
I would like, you, council as a whole on that too, is,
Up to you.
I have a motion to accept the late filing on 2025048. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-48, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids for asbestos abatement at the former Department of Environmental Service headquarters located at 2525 State Road, located in the city of Cuyahoga Falls and Council District 2 for an estimated total cost not to exceed $650,000, funded through a grant award from the Ohio Department of Development's Building, Demolition, and Site Reutilization Program with a 25% grant match for the Executive's Department of Administrative Services Physical Plants Emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-048.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025048 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules. Are you ready for the routine agenda? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I move to suspend the rules and adopt the routine agenda found on pages 4 through 9.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt the routine legislation found on pages 4 through 8. On the suspension, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second reading. 2025-20.
Madam President, I move to amend 2025-020 as it appears on the purple sheet we've been given.
I have a motion to amend 2025020 on the amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
An amended resolution declaring the Mudbrook Sanitary Emergency Repair Project to repair the Mudbrook Sewer Trunk Line on Canyon Brook Drive, located in the city of Cuyahoga Falls in Council District 2, an emergency pursuant to Section 177.07A3 of the Codified Ordinances of the County of Summit, and confirming the award by the Board of Control of a construction contract with Wingfoot Rental and Development Company for an emergency repair to the sewer trunk line in an amount not to exceed $829,386.18 for the Executive's Department of Sanitary Sewer Services Emergency.
Madam President, I move that we suspend the rules and adopt as amended 2025-020.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025020 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we're going to move into public comments. Our first public comment is Dr. Jadala here? Oh, he is here. Dr. Oh, she's, okay. Dr. Jadala, could you please state your name, your
Sure.
address?
Ahmad
and
Jadala.
3 minutes.
Yeah, Ahmad Jadala, 6184 Westington Drive. First of all, I want to thank you all again for keeping your word about the Israel bonds and not reinvesting. We got the word on that, and I appreciate that. Number two, I'd like to also say that unfortunately the state of Ohio has decided with Robert Sprague, who sits on the board of Israel bonds, to invest another $30 million. So I'll be going down to Columbus soon, I guess. The other thing I want to say is I came here on a note that hopefully this Friday I'm going to help Akron Children's Hospital raise some money. They have that WKD Radiothon, and hopefully at 9 o'clock, if possible, if you guys can call in and maybe make me spend some of my money. I'm going to match every dollar that's donated during that hour between 9 and 10. A lot of you don't know the history of my son. I think Aaron does. My son had a brain tumor when he was 4 years old, and we had our choice of going anywhere for care, but we stayed here because we were assured by my colleagues and friends that this was the best care that we received, and the neurosurgeon that was there was top-notch. And I've been blessed to work in this community and got to know a lot of the nurses and the doctors there, and I felt like I was home, and we felt like this is something every year we want to do to give back, and it's a gem within our community. Also, they've been very kind in donating their time and efforts and bringing kids that have been injured by the occupation and for prosthetics and physical therapy, and that's where we're trying to hopefully bring some of that money to them to help with care going forward, because there's a lot of kids that are now finally able to get out and hopefully get the care they need, so hope we'll be able to work with them. This is just some of the things that we do. We've been around the community. We've done things like, rehabbing North Hill, East High School. We've gone to Summit Lake. We've worked at planning, memory gardens in downtown Akron. We've been here a part of this community, and we do not want to be forgotten. And I just want to play something before I run out of time, because I think a lot of people don't understand. I know a lot of people are reading books now and are starting to understand the plight of the Palestinian people, but we've had such a difficult time getting across. And I see you're passing resolutions commemorating this and that, but I don't understand why we don't have this, effort. But let me just play this if I could here. This is Peter Beinart, who's the author of Jewish Currents magazine.
Kicked out of your synagogue, you would be censured by the American Congress, right? You could be penalized at some kind of university. But if you go back and read early Zionist writers, Theodor Herzl, the most important founder of political Zionism, Vladimir Jabotinsky, the founder of revisionist Zionism, which is Benjamin Netanyahu's own tradition, they use this term frequently and positively to describe what they're doing. Herzl writes to Cecil Rhodes, the arch-imperialist of Southern Africa, and says, we're involved in a common enterprise here, right? Because for them, colonialism meant bringing progress and modernity to a backward part of the world and taking control over it from the populations that were there, because a population from a more advanced civilization could use the territory better. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, said, this cannot be a truly Jewish state unless it has a roughly 80% Jewish majority, which was actually the state that Israel would have been given under the UN was far, far less than that. So you had to carry out mass ethnic cleansing. In Jewish communities, people tend to say this only began when the Arab countries invaded in May 1948. It's not true. Haifa and Jaffa, for instance, the largest Palestinian populations, were ethnically cleansed before May 1948 because it was impossible to create a Jewish state. There were simply too many Palestinians there, so you had to clear them off in order to...
If you hear that, these are clear them off. This is a known history, and I'm sorry, these are our Jewish friends, these are Israeli scholars that are saying this, and to deny that it happened, especially in light of the fact of what the current president is saying and what people are saying is going to happen, again, they've seen this history. We've tried to tell you this is the history, and I don't know what you guys are waiting for. I need your help here, okay? Are you waiting for us, as after it's done, to sit there and say, oh, look what happened? Do you ask yourselves, you wonder what happened in Europe and why people let it happen? It's because we don't want anything. We don't want anything other than people to understand what happened to the people, what we can do to rectify it. They're talking about moving them to Egypt and Jordan. How about moving to their homes in Jaffa, Haifa, and Jerusalem? How about moving back to where their families are? I mean, I'm just asking for something very, very simple. And for us to be told that it's hateful, that's like telling a German that's hateful to talk about the Holocaust. This has nothing to do with the people that are here in Ohio. This has to do with our history. This has to do with why we're here, with why our parents came here.
Okay, Dr. Jadala, thank you.
Please help somebody.
Next, we have David Goran. Is he here? Yeah, he's there. I was going to say, did you leave? David, don't forget your address and
Sure.
And 3 minutes.
David Goran, 682 Delaware Avenue, Akron. So after the last meeting of council, I was told that your meetings are available on Facebook. Forgive me for not being aware of this, that you are on Facebook. But I hope you all realize that the cool kids aren't on Facebook, such as myself. I'm not on Facebook because I don't want to be friends with Mark Zuckerberg. But there are at least two alternatives to Facebook, YouTube and the county's website and its server. For example, the city of Akron uses YouTube. And I used to live in Milwaukee from 2003 to 2011. I'm aware that the Milwaukee County and the city of Milwaukee have their meetings on their websites. Now, with Facebook, there are two problems with it. One is a barrier to entry for the public because one must be on Facebook, have an account. And two, the videos on Facebook are not the property of the county. Meeting videos are the property of Facebook. Now, for YouTube, there's one downside, like Facebook, that the videos are not the property of the county, but are of YouTube. And both of these entities can remove those videos at any time without any recourse. So by using the county website, there is no barrier to entry to the public, and the other is that the county owns the videos. Next subject. I would highly suggest that the county board suggests to the sheriff, and I haven't checked what their policy is yet, to be not complicit with ICE. We need to make sure that Summit County protects its immigrants. Next subject. County council and county exec need to begin fighting against Trump and his co-president, Elon Musk. You can't wait, 4 years from now. Trump has already said that he wants to stay in past that. And when Trump says something, actually, he means it. Now, he might not be able to do it. Maybe not, maybe not. But you need to learn how to fight now. Fight these things now. Don't be silent. And I know one person on this council doesn't like bringing up resolutions that are not directly related to the county. But I don't know the exact percentage, but a large amount of your money comes from the federal government through the state to you. Trump wants to take that money from the people of Summit County.
David.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Robert Quaid. Mr. Quaid, please, your name and your address, please, sir.
Hi, my name is Robert Quaid. I live at 1110 Ellsworth Drive in the Valley. Excuse me. I just heard earlier that council and the investment advisory board decided not to reinvest the $1 million in February in Israel bonds, and that is awesome news. I hope that it continues through summer and August when the $3 million investment matures, and again next February when the last $1.5 million matures. And beyond that, I would just like to reiterate my hope that council, I know you guys, well, there's only one person in the room that sits on that advisory board, but y'all talk to each other. So I'm hoping that there can be an amendment or a revision to the investment policy to prohibit investment in any entity, foreign or domestic, whose product policies or actions are in conflict with or subvert the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I don't really understand why that needs to be said out loud, but it does, and I think it's important that not just for this current conflict, but I mean that declaration was made in 47 or 40, I think 47, 48, after the Second World War, and many countries don't abide by it. Wish they would, but our only ability as citizens is to talk about it and to encourage others not to invest in companies or governments that violate those human rights. We did it in, what was it, 82 with apartheid? Maybe it's later than that. It'd be nice to have something written that meant we didn't have to do it every time something bad happened. And I've run out of words, so thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Clay. If there's no further business, we're adjourned.